Welcome, everyone. As you just said, it seems like we do this every day in the past week, but we are excited, I'm sure as you are, to get back started at doing what you do and coaching football, playing football, you guys reporting on it, and getting to see you every Tuesday and every other day from there on, but for the rest of the year. But anyway, I'm really excited about the prospects of this team. A lot has been said. Maybe we don't have the Heisman Trophy guys coming back, or maybe the biggest names in the world. But I really believe there's the makings of a lot of special players on this team that could be those guys. And that's what we've been used to over the years, is certain guys leave and other guys are developing and becoming the special players we need them to be to hopefully compete for championships. And again, I think with the added experience or the unexpected experience we gained a year ago due to so many different injuries to seniors, I really believe this team is further along than it would have been had we not had all those injuries. It's not what you want. We dealt with it best we could. Sometimes we dealt with it well. Other times we didn't deal with it as well as we needed to with some of the losses. But this team coming up has had a great attitude really all through the winter and spring, and how they've worked, how they've prepared, how they've embraced everything that we're doing, and showed up yesterday with our conditioning test. Really did well. I was excited to see the way most of them ran. There's a couple guys that need to do some work, but for the most part, the guys we're really counting on and depending on really did well and came out for our first practice and really did well. Everybody we were not missing anyone. Everyone wants to ask that. Everybody that we were expecting to come in, all 29 guys that we signed are all here, eligible, ready to go. All players coming back were here and did well in the conditioning test and did everything we expected them to do. So now we're heading into get to today behind us and really get down to some good football work here in the next few days.
What did you think of the freshmen now that you had a chance to look at them?
I'm really excited about them. We're careful in that the conditioning test, we only give them half of it. I'm not interested. I like to, and we only actually let the guys run that were here the entire summer, just due to safety reasons. Want to make sure we've had a chance to work with them and don't have any, hopefully, accidents while you're working on that test. But the way they ran it, a lot of great speed. Looking at some of their testing numbers were really impressive for young guys. And I won't back off of my staff said it a bunch, and you guys know I'm not much on talking too much about an individual or a guy until they've done it, but just watching them in a day and listening to the older players talk about them, this is one of our best recruiting classes, I think. And then you add the fact that not only the quality, but the number of them, with 29 of them, I think it has a chance to really be a special group.
Bob, could you talk about what you hope to see out of Landry from his maturation process from his freshman to sophomore year?
Sure. We've already seen it, just his leadership ability. He's a natural leader, and it's hard to be that guy when you're not the starting quarterback. But once he was last year, and as the season went and he was performing better and felt more comfortable, he started even being a leader towards the end of the year on the field. And then definitely he took that over in the winter and the spring, and the way he's working with everybody offensively. He's been a very strong leader that way. He's a great worker. It's hard to be a leader when you're not the best worker, and he's one of our best workers. And just expect him when he gets on the field to continue to improve technique-wise, making the proper decisions. And that's, Coach Heupel does a great job fundamentally with our guys, and I'm sure he'll continue to progress that way.
Talk about some of the things, too, how you handle and how Coach Heupel handles it that go along with being the quarterback at Oklahoma because of the success Jason had, Sam had, and so on. Yeah,
again, you have to really look at Josh, and just done an amazing job working with these guys. I think between Josh and Coach Wilson, they do a great job of playing and working to our quarterback strengths and doing their best to stay away from maybe things that they aren't the best at, and really emphasize, their strengths and play to them. And Landry has many, and he is in that style of guy when you look at the quarterbacks we've had over the years, and I'm not saying this in a good way, but winning 5 or 6 championships with 5 different quarterbacks, that's a lot with a lot of different guys. And I really believe Landry's in that mold of sharp guy, great worker, great attitude guy, great team guy, but also talented, throws the ball well, can move. So I really, feel good that Josh will not only, Josh will develop all those guys in a positive way like he has through the years.
A few fans just told me out there that the reason the lines were shorter to get into the Fan Appreciation Day was because Sam's not here. That's kind of the
And
angle I
when Sam was
taking
a
on that.
freshman, they were shorter because Jason wasn't here. But so, and next year, hopefully they'll be longer because Landry's back or whoever else is back. That's
Does that go with it, though, the fan expectation of being the OU quarterback, the
sure.
starting quarterback? And you
Sure,
guys-
there's pressure there, and every one of our guys that have been in that position will tell you it. But I think we're pretty good at here that it's never been about just the quarterback, though the media goes that way. All our guys know they have to be supported. They've all been good team guys, that it isn't just about me. They get that, and Landry's that way. So he'll balance it. All we want him to do, and we say this every year, is play within the system. Do what we're asking you to do. You don't need to be Superman. Just take what's there and work within the system.
Would you like to redshirt Blake Bell?
I don't want to redshirt any of our freshmen
Why not?
because I believe in playing them for 4 years.
Yeah, but if
I believe that the quality of players we're getting, they're not going to be here for that 5th year. And they're better players in their 2nd year, maybe when you need them more, having played even a little bit in their 1st year. So we're going to always be graduating players, and I believe these freshmen, even if they play a little bit, due to the preparation through the week, being prepared to play in the game, even if they end up playing just a little bit, they're better next year than they would have been had they not played at all. So my feeling is not wanting to redshirt any of them. Now, if a guy gets injured or a guy physically, when we get out there, isn't capable of it, then I'm sure that'll happen. But starting out, we don't want to redshirt any of them.
Drew Allen will start number 2.
To start with, but that'll be open competition, as well as not only a quarterback at every other position. There aren't any, at number 2, or, certainly there's some ones that guys have really excelled over a couple of years that'll be hard to unseat, but everyone else, it's open competition. That's the only fair way I know how to manage 105 guys that are out there trying to play.
Well, if you look at Sam Bradford's redshirt freshman year, he obviously did a lot to get him ready to play, and I'm sure some of that was his talent level alone. But what did you learn from him and other new quarterbacks that you'll apply with Blake?
Just, well, it's different. I mean, Sam was a redshirt freshman when he started playing.
In his first year, though, when he was here, he wasn't playing, he was on scout.
Well, I think things were different. Again, the number of quarterbacks or the quality of snaps, and at the time, we felt good about where, the situation we were in. So, all situations are different. We'll develop them like we have all our guys. Coach Heupel has always been very diligent, no matter where they're at on the depth chart or what age they are, of continuing to build fundamentals and technique. And it starts with footwork, and those guys have all been exceptional that way. Sam was, and Josh will continue to develop Blake the same way, from the ground up, and make sure he's solid fundamentally.
I think you've scouted him a lot, but just your impressions getting to watch him yesterday throw it around.
Very impressive. Blake's a very big, strong athlete. A very bright guy that you see when you visit with him. He catches on quickly, and more importantly, in the locker room, he's you can tell the players are like being in the locker room or like working with him, because he's one of the guys, and so he has all the personality traits, to really be an exceptional player. And looking at him running physically, he definitely is ahead as a freshman that about anyone we've had come in here that's that big and strong already.
Bob, when you were with Coach Spurrier, he was pretty comfortable in playing a couple of guys. Even though you're really high on Landry, if Blake Bell were to come along and really impress you, would you consider playing both of them some?
Definitely. Depending, again, I think it's always depending on the game, depending on the situations, depending on how far he or Drew comes along. Then I think you make a good point to give them some series here and there. Gives them, is only going to develop them further and have them more prepared to play if you need them.
Well, I'm not necessarily talking about giving him experience and being ready to play next year or in 2 years. I'm saying play right now in meaningful situations.
If need be. But again, that'll all just be, if you're asking me about a scenario, I just don't know, until we get out there. If depending on how things are going, hopefully we're not in a situation where we're not doing so well and we have to, go that way. But again, it's just hard to foresee how it'll go. But we want to have them all ready to play.
Coach, talk about DeMarco Murray. Seems like he's really being featured this year. He expects a big year.
And he should be. Let's face it, DeMarco in this great program is has a chance to be in the top 8, 6, 7 in rushing and all-purpose yards. It says a lot here at Oklahoma, and so he's a great talent. He's he's had a great year leading up, through the winter and spring, and looking at him run yesterday, he's in great shape. So we're counting on him to have a big year. He's got great experience. And, so hopefully we can give him the opportunity of a few more snaps, a few more carries, and a few more touches even out of the backfield to give him opportunities for those big plays.
That comes then, of course, to the offensive line, the development there.
I'm really excited, truthfully, about our offensive line. I think it has a chance to be much, much better than people think. And they gained a lot of experience with a lot of young guys a year ago. They've really had a great year in the weight room and spring ball and how they competed. Getting some other guys in there, 2 guys that really, Eric Mensick made a huge impact at the end of the year last year, playing at right tackle at 260 pounds and played outstanding against 2 ranked teams, and now he's about 295. Donald Stevenson's a guy that we compared to Trent Williams a year ago that didn't play a snap last year due to definite reasons, but now he has a chance to play and really be a good player, and these other guys have all improved.
Bob, Kenny Stills obviously showed some talent during the spring. How is he equipped psychologically to perhaps step into a fairly prominent role?
He's a competitive guy. I saw that, and you all did in the spring, where he doesn't look at himself as a freshman. And the fact that he was here through the spring will help him. And he'll definitely play, and I believe he has a chance to make an impact.
Well, the fact he's, I think, #1 on the depth chart right now, does that say he's really good, or that your receivers coming back, you're not that happy with him?
Well, it's probably a little bit of both. Or at this point, he's outperformed them. And that goes back to what you asked earlier, that to me, there's never a position locked up. If another guy is consistently performing better than you, then he deserves more snaps or the chance to start and be on the field more.
Isn't that disappointing those guys haven't progressed?
Well, we'll see. We've had 1 practice. I believe they have progressed. He just through spring, he was more productive than some of them, but I still believe those guys will be better than they have been. But to what degree, we'll just have to see as they come through camp.
Bob, tell me a little bit about Adrian Taylor, just watching him, that rehabilitation. Some guys would hang it up after an injury like that.
Yeah, it's been difficult, but Adrian has a great attitude about it, and he works, tirelessly every day trying to improve it. So again, once we get out there and have a chance to get the pads on and have more contact, we'll see how it holds up. But as far as one day yesterday, he did well, so we'll just see.
Bob, did you come out of yesterday with the fastest center? I know a lot of the guys were talking about they were looking forward maybe to Jonathan Nelson and Trey Franks kind of getting after it a little bit. So
we'll in our team meeting today, Coach Schmidt covers all of that, so we haven't had a chance to go over all of it just yet.
Trey, has he looked as fast as?
Trey's fast, but I don't know that he's up with Jay Nell just yet. In fact, I don't believe he is.
Coach, can you talk about Bronson Irwin and where he might fit in the offensive line rotation?
He's a big, strong guy that did well in the spring, so he'll definitely be working for time at that guard position, and we're pleased with Bronson. He's doing a nice job.
Kicking situation, Coach, seems pretty solid punting wise. How about place kicking?
Yeah, unfortunately, I thought a year ago, Tress Way was overlooked a little bit by everybody. He averages, 60-some yards against Oklahoma State at the end of the year. That didn't count. Now everybody's votes for all Big 12 and this and that were already in, and he leads the league in punting. And I don't know that he got credit for it. But Tress has got a huge leg and believe he'll only be better this year with refining technique. We did lead the league in punting and punt returns a year ago. So sometimes we're everybody talks about our special teams. Sometimes they're pretty good and they get overlooked. But he has a chance to have a big leg. As far as the inconsistent part a year ago was field goals, and those guys I'm counting on have worked hard. There'll be great competition and daily competition to see who's going to be the most consistent and accurate. And that was our issue. We missed a few in some tight games that would have made a difference. So hopefully we can be stronger there. And again, those guys have worked hard, so I really expect them to be. And just yesterday, they look good in one day, but we'll see how that goes.
Bob, you mentioned Jonathan. We talked about Jonathan Nelson a little bit. He was a guy that took him a couple of years battling through injuries and things, and he really excelled. Price Macon in the spring was a young man that after 2 or 3 years, we haven't played him much or hadn't had an opportunity, but had a great spring. You don't give up on guys, and sometimes they come through towards the end of the career, don't they?
Very true, and we've had a lot of guys that way that, you're hoping for more early on. It isn't quite there for whatever reasons, and then, in their junior or senior year, all of a sudden, it's like a flower. All of a sudden, it blooms, and there it is, and it has a chance to. Price has a chance to really be an excellent player for us this year, and contribute in a really positive way. And it just shows you hard work, experience, and time on the field eventually pays off if you're willing to stay with it. And Price has a chance to really help us this year.
How do you feel about your depth defensively up front?
I feel good. I think there's a bunch of guys up front that'll be quality players. I love the way I thought they did a really good job in the spring competing. I think both our fronts, offensive line and defensive line, the way we competed in the spring, have a chance to be very solid, very good. And so we'll see when we get out there. But they, all those guys are emerging. Again, as they become sophomores and juniors, they get more experience. More of those guys are prepared to play.
You've said you want to give DeMarco more carries, but even Adrian needed a backup, spelling from time to time. With Jeremy being kind of dinged up in the spring and Jonathan Miller being out, is that kind of an
Well, they're not now. They're
Well, what I'm saying is you haven't seen as much of those guys
Right.
as backups, or is it?
nobody right now has solidified any number 2 running back position. All those guys will compete for it. See who takes care of the football. We get in inside drills, or we get in some physical drills, making sure we're taking care of it. And so there's a lot of time, but those guys will all get many opportunities, and there's some young freshmen that really are impressive too. So we'll just see.
What was your impression of Finch? There's been so much talk about him. Getting to see him yesterday.
Of who?
Roy Finch.
Roy, very impressive, very quick, and great hands, and has a chance to really make an impact.
Can you put him at more than just running back?
Sure.
As a freshman.
When you speak highly of the offensive line, it sounds like you must like some intangibles there within that personnel. Can you comment on that specifically there?
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I just saw the work ethic through the winter and through the spring. The willingness, the conditioning, the lifting, the strength training. In spring ball, the competition against the D-line and defense of, just playing physical, playing within the rules, and I thought they were much improved.
You talk about Ronell Lewis. We had so much fun watching him play in the Sun Bowl, and we talked about how you call him the hammer. Can you just talk about how much more of an impact he can make this season?
Yeah, he will. Ronell is a guy that defensively we want to give more opportunities to, and I, along with what Dave was asking, we'll use him even up front some, once in a while at defensive end in some passing or some different situations, or outside backer, and when we do sometimes go to a 3-4 situation, those kind of things, we go in and out from a 4-3 to a 3-4 at different times, and Ronell's a guy you want to have on the field more, and so we're going to do what we can to give him more opportunities to make big plays.
What's he like in the locker room with guys like Travis Lewis? And
He's great. Ronell's one of those guys that's a physical phenom, and like an Adrian that just can't get enough. He just loves it, and so he and the guys see the work ethic and the attitude, and then he backs it up on the field. He's a very physical player when he plays.
Has he picked up the defense well enough that he can play instinctively? Because
Definitely. Yeah, Ronell's and last year played really well as a freshman in the outside backer positions we had him in, And yes, he has a very good feel for the game.
Any of the numbers that you had in testing yesterday, will any of those be released? And
I'm not sure. I'll think about that. I'm not much on giving scouting reports to everybody on who does what, you know. We may, some of the more impressive ones we'll probably release, yeah.
well, how about Finch? Who were some of the more impressive ones yesterday? And
Brennan Clay and Roy Finch ran really well. All those freshmen, I don't. It's hard to, you know. I can name you. I go on and on. You know, there a bunch of them really tested well. All their running was really. They did really well with it. So.
Fastest 40 time on your team.
You could tell that's real important to me. I don't know. Ask me who scores the most. It'd be hard to unseat Ryan or DeMarco, but Ryan and probably Jonathan Nelson, Ryan Broyles. Some of these young guys, Trey Franks, James Haynes, Aaron Colvin is really quick. I'm sure I'm missing somebody.
Tom Ward still, he's totally healthy, right?
Yes.
You still as excited about him as before the injury?
Absolutely. You know, anymore, these doctors and everybody's able to, knock wood, but you're really, the way they rehab anymore and are able to do these surgeries, it's really fairly common to overcome them and to be back to full strength. And Tom looked great yesterday.
Bob, big picture, each year you've talked about feeling like you were able to contend for a championship, or most of the time you have. How do you look at this team in terms of how good they can be?
It's a little early for me to say that, meaning we, without, say, 4 first-round draft picks coming back a year ago, it was easier to say this and having just come off of the national championship, it's easy to project that. Now, obviously, that's not the case, so we'll see. It has a chance to be a special group to compete for, a Big 12 championship, and we'll see how things go, how we work, how we prepare for it. We got a lot of work to do. If we do it well, we'll have a chance to be a contender for it. But to say it without having done the work right now, I don't think is right. Meaning, missing those players that we've graduated, we got to have some guys step up. But if they do, we have a chance to be pretty special.
I'll talk about the tight end position. It's been very productive for you all before last year. Step down a little bit. Do you expect that position, those guys to be back?
Well, hopefully. It's hard to, when you look at Jermaine Gresham, he's one in a couple thousand. You don't get many of him. But these other guys are really quality players. James Hanna's played a lot there for us. Trent Rattery has. Lane Johnson, a new guy that's, it's a redshirt freshman now, has a chance to be a good, big, strong athlete, has a chance to be really good. Trey Millard is a guy that's a fullback / H-back for us, a new young freshman that's really a talented guy. Very talented, big body, and we think he has a chance to be really pretty special too. So we'll have those guys, that we like to use in different ways as tight ends.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about Landry, personality-wise, demeanor-wise? There were some rough spots last year, but do you feel he's got the confidence, he gained confidence from last year, those kind of things?
I do. He was stuck in as tough a position you could ever be thrown into. And you can't fool, in the locker room, you cannot fool players or coaches. I mean, you could tell looking at someone's eyes whether they're really anxious to play or they're just trying to show you they are. And when Sam was injured in the BYU game at halftime, he genuinely could not wait to play and was excited about it and was confident about it. And then as the year went, even with some rough spots, he never got down on himself, never changed his demeanor, and accepted the fact that, hey, I got to go through some growing pains. Not that he likes it, but he wasn't sitting there with hanging his head or if he made a mistake and I truly believe, let's face it, I don't believe overall in some ways he was supported very well. There were too many drop balls, protection at times, although we still didn't have a bunch of sacks. If you look at us compared to everyone else in the league, we're at the top in fewest sacks. But there, just overall, I didn't think we helped him as much with the great running game at times. So he needs supported, and as well as any quarterback does. I think so much of the time, even with Sam, it's all Sam. Well, wait a minute. There's, the year before, there's some really good running game going on. There's some, guys, he got some special receivers that didn't drop a ball, that could get by people. So he has to be supported. But a year ago, he handled it really well. I just loved his demeanor through the whole year, and I love seeing him grow through the year. And by the end of the year, he was a really confident young man that was playing and sure of himself, and guys around him played better. And I think the growth of the offense showed in the second half, in particular in the last couple of games against two good teams when we had to play well. And so, and I see that in the spring, and I saw it yesterday. He's a guy that really now, with all that experience, is really sure of himself and looking forward confidently to what he's got ahead of him.
The perception is that Landry didn't play well on the road, and the statistics back that up. But like you said, he needs support. Why do you feel like?
I think statistics show offensively we didn't play well on the road.
Why do you feel like that is as a team, offensive line, receivers, everybody?
I don't know.
didn't play well
It's
on the road?
maturity or focus, maturity. A lot of that inconsistency and just their overall level of play. But that's not uncommon with some inexperienced guys.
Bob, are you not voting on the coaches poll, and if not, why?
I wasn't. Again, I thought I was, and then I saw that it was out. So I'm gonna make a call about that. So obviously, if I'm not, then I wasn't asked to. Not everybody is asked to vote on it every year.
Okay, any idea why?
Well, again, they're not. I think they're anymore. It's random who they ask to be on it and who they ask to vote. Not every coach is asked to vote on it every year.
Normally, a top 5 program, a coach would be asked to be on it.
Yeah, again, I thought I was, so I have to check on that.
You dropped out, maybe they're mad at you.
No, that's not the case. They're not mad at me.
How has Willie Martinez fit in, and when you get a coach like that, can he bring new ideas, or you just expect him to kind of fit in with what you're doing?
Well, we always want new ideas or different wrinkles or a different way of looking at something. Doesn't mean we'll actually do it or not. We're kind of always evaluating a different way of doing something. But Willie has fit in, really well. We've, in past years, as a defensive staffs, have been together and shared ideas before. So coming in, he was already very familiar with what we did and how we played, and has a lot of similarities to some of what he did. But so we started with, this is what we do, and here's how we do things. And then from there, if there's other ways, let's talk about it. If there's something different that can help us, we're always. So Willie has had some, input and different wrinkles that we're doing, or maybe even just in terminology and how we're labeling something for the players, easier for them to understand, that kind of thing. It's always you get in a pattern as a staff of evolving with your defense or offense, and sometimes terminology only makes sense to you because you've lived it. And then someone else comes in, and wouldn't it be easier to say this? And then when you step back, you're like, yeah, it would be. So in the end, there's little things like that, but Willie has got great experience and is really doing well for us.
Coach, talk about the challenge of this schedule, the non-conference schedule.
It's exciting. It's definitely challenging. There's no getting around it. And Utah State to start off with, and then of course you have the Florida State, who with new staff and all is I'm sure a great quarterback coming back is it'll be a major challenge, and then you got Air Force, who's coming off a huge year and a great bowl game, and a lot of people back as well, and then you go to Cincinnati, so it's tough. It's all fine and good as long as you win and don't get your quarterback hurt. Otherwise, you shouldn't have done it. So.
Is that good?
All right.